I lived in Ethiopia for 4 years in a refugee camp called Itam. Twin, they get to enjoy their one-day meals because food was provided by the UN Refugee Agency. My little sister and I, we enjoyed luxury of going to school under the tree where we had to scratch our ABCs on the ground. But something unusual was coming. The civil war erupted in Ethiopia in 1991 on May 26, I remember very well. That's the day that I lost contact with my mom, my brothers, and many of my siblings, and everybody ran separate directions. I ran towards Sudan by myself. I was about the age of 13. I walked in a flooded season, day in, day out, until I find a military base that had food and water and also security, and I didn't hesitate to join, and I became a child soldier. I spent months in a military base. My work was very basic. We prepare food, and sometimes we clean guns for the guys who really participate on a regular basis in fightings. But a huge battle came to our area, our military camps, where they killed most of my friends that I sleep with them in the same blankets every day, Madalat and Nyankur. I ran so fast until I forgot where I was going. That day was a turning point for me. That's when I asked myself, if I stay here in this country, Sudan, my life is going to end like Madalat and Nyankur. That's the day that I decided to really attach myself to the band of boys who were going to Ethiopia to seek for safety. We walked 520 miles. We were digging encampments and corpses who would try to risk our lives. Luckily, we got to Ethiopia, and we met a man who was driving a truck. We gave him a few bucks, and then he put us in his trucks, took us across Ethiopia all the way to the border, Ethiopia and Kenya. So we find other trucks, and they took me across Kenya, and then they took me to the refugee camps called Dadaab Ifo. Dadaab was a very desert place. Barely tree there. 120 degrees every day. I find it tough to live there, but I had hopes to be there because we heard there was an opportunity to be resettled in the United States, Denmark, Norway, Canada. So I have something to live for. And I waited in that refugee camp for over a year, and it sounded like a decade to me when I was there. Trust me. One day, a blessing came from somewhere where our names appeared on the board of the UNHCR that we are elected to go to America. And I was very happy. Because they say if you get to America, you will go to school. You will get to work. So I was ready to work and provide for my family and those that I left behind. But I was very young at the time because I was only 15 years old. However, we went through the procedure where we have to go to the interview with a lawyer. Then we passed. And then from there, and then they took us from Ifo camp to Nairobi in the Riru refugee camp right in the middle of Nairobi so that we can do our medical check. We did our medical check, and 4 of us passed too. In 2 weeks, our name appeared again that we are flying to the United States. I remember coming close to the airplane. I never know airplane is as big as this. Even a guy who's 6 foot, I can walk and even go use the restroom inside the airplane. So I have a lot of mixed emotion, as you can imagine. I sat in there, and I was very quiet, because when something confused me, I go silent for a very long time. I couldn't believe this machine going to lift me up and take me all the way to a different land. And it did that evening. And I landed in JFK, not to live there, but to make a connection to go to where our sponsor was, which is Des Moines, Iowa. When I got to JFK, I never seen a place where I can't distinguish night and day, because it was so bright with so many lights. I'm seeing so many people walking many different directions. I don't know where they're going or where they're coming from, dragging suitcases. And here I am carrying the plastic bags. When we were in refugee camp, I thought Paul can speak good English. So Paul went around, tried to make a connection, asking these guys, "Do you know Des Moines, Iowa?" Yeah, Des Moines, Iowa. It's like, "Give me your ticket." The guy looked at it, it's like, "Oh, this is Des Moines, Iowa." So that day I knew Paul English was dying. So we made our connection and we made it to Des Moines, Iowa. We were received by our colleagues who came a year before, show us around. My thoughts, all about school. School is something that I was risking my life for. To come to this strange land where I have to learn how to live, and how I have to learn to navigate and make something of myself. And the dream that one day I can go home, or one day I can read and write, that was a motivation that I always have. I'm glad I can tell this story to you guys, not in my mother tongue, in your language. I was 16 years old. I was put in a class with American kids, Cambodian